Welcome to the Coach's Decision. Disclaimer. The views, language, and candor expressed on this series are designed to provoke thought and conversation amongst adults. Some opinions and perspectives may be unsuitable for those who are emotionally weak. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, Coach, we got a question from the people. And this question is from Daniel Jones. How should I deal with getting passed over for promotions at my job? Should I give up, or how should I approach my boss?
Okay. So the first thing it makes me think of is Boney T. Boomerang. He said, "I've been coming here on time
Okay.
most of the time, even when it rained, about 6 months. When we
Mhm.
gonna talk promotion?" so
Yep, right.
my question to Daniel Jones would be, how long have you been at this? Because the one thing that you recognize, and you know this better than I, the younger workforce or the younger generation of folks that's coming into these jobs, they come in wanting instant gratification. They don't want to sit too long or pay their dues, or they want to come in supervisor day 2 or tell the supervisor what to do day 4. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
the age would be a determinant to give a professionally qualified answer. But give me some assumptions about Daniel Jones, and I'll build from there, just so I'm being responsible to the license.
I'm assuming if you have frustration, right? I think felt like you've been passed over more than once. So let's say Daniel Jones has been passed over for a position he feels like he was next in line for, because to be passed over, you have to feel like you
Right?
deserved it,
Somebody
right?
cut you right.
So
Right.
the, we're at his job,
Yep.
and they make milk bones for dogs.
Okay. Cool.
And Daniel Jones has been doing a good job. Every year he gets high ratings.
Okay.
There's no complaints.
Okay.
He is on time most of the time,
Okay.
even when it's snow. So when people leave, he's probably heard that, yeah, you could probably do my job, or you could do this job. So let's say he's been passed over 3 times for positions that he's been told by the people leaving that he's qualified for. And when he look at the requisition he feels like he's qualified for, he's been at this company 5 years and has great reviews.
I think that size of the company matters, and then the reputation that you have. Besides the thing that I always recommend is put yourself in a situation where your network is such that people speak positively about you when you're not around, because those are the people that are advocating for you in the back rooms. The other thing is, check the tea leaves. If you and 8 of your buddies that you started with 5 years ago are all getting passed over and they're bringing in fresh perspectives, we have this in the corporate space, where they bring in new guys. It used to be all old guys. You kind of worked your way up, and you started in the mail room, and then you kind of chipped away at going above, and you went to night school and stuff like that. At this point in time, they like to cycle out talent to give fresh perspective, or poach from areas where they feel like they could give something different in the leadership or in the next level. So if that's what's going on, but more importantly, you have to let your intentions be known. So in the conversation with, not necessarily I wouldn't start with my boss. I would start with human resources. Say, hey, can you give me the requisition for this job, or the description of this job? What all is entailed in holding this job? Because if the job say you need a master's degree in electrical engineering, I don't care if you've been there 15 years and you have a bachelor's degree in English. You're not, because a lot of people think, used to be a time, and we old enough to know, used to be a time where they would say just education but work experience could qualify you. It could waive you out of the educational requirement. I don't really see that anymore in mid-level roles or lower level roles. They want you to have gone to school for that, or some type of certification, whatever the case may be. It puts you in a promotable role, a role that's sought after. They absolutely want an MBA, a PMP, some type of certification. You know what I mean? They want you to be catered to that role. You end up pigeonholing.
Are you justified in wanting that as a company?
Yeah, the reason why you do that is to mitigate risk and exposure. The idea of this, if this person went to
Uh, uh,
Cambridge for milk bone producing, the likelihood of him being a better, long-lasting milk bone producer at a higher tier than a person that just has a passion for it and really loves dog bones because they grew up with a lot of dogs. That you got to be able to, and don't get me wrong, that person with the passion could be absolutely better at the job, not on paper. Companies are run by what happens on paper, unfortunately, good, bad, or indifferent. Paper,
So they're not justified.
they are legally justified, and to the shareholders, they're justified because I can't go back and say I had a good feeling about this young man. And they like,
Why not?
you don't,
Why
cause
not? If you boss, you bossing up.
they cut the nuts off a lot of bosses. I don't know where you
You're
work.
not a boss. You're not a boss then.
Listen,
There's no such thing as a boss with no nuts. A
here's the
nutless boss.
situation. Here's the situation.
Okay.
Being something in title, being something in reality, two different things. Whether we talk about husbands, wives, or bosses. So a lot of people take those titles, and you know this. We work with people where they be like, "Well, the vice president said this and that." He told you wrong. It's okay because he's the vice president doesn't mean he's infallible. Doesn't mean he knows everything. This is dead wrong. Let me show you the data. Let me show you why this is wrong. But they feel like it's the gospel if certain people say cool names. Say it.
Yeah. And I think you're dead wrong if you're a boss who's saying that a person graduating from a college, no matter what degree, will know more because they have a master's than a person who's actually been making milk bones for 5 years. You know, you read a book that is published and all that stuff, and it's 5 years or 10 years behind. He's right there seeing the process. He knows the issues. He's going to know more than a college kid.
My pushback on that as corporate guy is sometimes just because we've been doing it this way doesn't make it the right way. And people who have a closer line to education tend to have a more updated perspective on what's done now. Like if you keep doing it how you've always done it, there's no evolution, there's no continuous improvement, there's no growth, but you're good at it. The difference between being repetitive and being productive.
It's a difference.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you got to keep that in mind. But for Mr. Jones, the concept is I would start with what is the job and do you qualify as far as they're concerned. Then if you have all of the boxes checked and the qualifications, then you peep the scene and look at how are other people getting promoted. Are they going to the pool parties and letting them see you in shorts? Are they, you know what I'm saying? Now I remember you and I had a conversation, if you so desire, you can share it, where the person wasn't going to the happy hours, but was mad because nobody, and tell them the secret to getting around the happy hours. They just gotta remember you was there. You don't have to get belligerent. No.
Yeah, I'm a person who don't like going to happy hours either. But I do know how to show up and make a scene in front of everybody or make a few people laugh and go to the restroom. I leave on that high note and people are just sitting there, hey, what happened to over here? Where's over? And then they carry on about their day, but they know I was there.
Right.
There's people who will sit there for 3 hours, but they just ordering beers and just drinking and they don't know that they there.
Right.
I go and I make a joke about somebody's shirt. Like one time I was like, do your shirt match your drink? Because he had the logo in his drink.
Right.
And I was telling everybody saw it.
Right.
Then I went to the restroom.
Right. But some people want to do it their way and then complain when it's not getting done. Not realizing, like your man Corey say, your way ain't working.
Yeah.
At some point in time, like we talk about, how long do you give it before you pivot? So you've tried to run this play is not working. We need to start doing triple reverses and other things to make sure that we could at least try to align with success. Because that's the most important thing is to be successful. How you do it, or people get caught up and messed up because they determined to do it their way. And obviously, if you've tried for 5 years and your way isn't working, at least be open to trying another way. And that's my recommendation there. But I start with understanding what's accepted and what's expected of the role. Now, don't go straight to your boss. Your boss is one step above you. Chances that they know the ins and outs and all of the game, they would probably be 4 steps ahead of you. They wouldn't be just one layer above you. And go ahead.
That's the issue I have with the teachers at the college who are educating you to make all this money. They know the theory because if they actually knew it, they would do it.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Absolutely.
So I do want to go into the next question. Should I approach my boss or how should I approach my boss?
Okay. Let me ask you this. I have 2 parts to that. One of them is, are you talking about your boss's job? I assume, from a rational perspective.
I would think that's not open, hopefully.
Okay, cool. But he may have just recently got into it. Like we've been on teams.
You see the writing on the wall?
We've been on teams where we thought we were next to be boss because of various reasons. Then the boss got, and then they bring some from the outside in or somebody from another group in, and you like,
Yeah.
so that could be his situation. In that case, you're talking to the person that just got the spot and challenging their validity at that point. So in that instance, I would not talk to my boss about how to get their job, his or her job.
Okay.
As a boss yourself, you want to be approached about somebody's aspiration to add more value. And that's another term I would use. I wouldn't say, I want this, I want that. I would like to add more value to the company. Is there a way that I could add more value to the company, whether that be adding responsibility or adding flexibility, cross-functional activity? It could be. We used to hear all the time, you need to get on a whole bunch of projects. You remember that? Remember they like, man, you need your name. You gotta get your name out there and be the gopher on a whole bunch of projects, and that's how you can get that's your name on stuff.
Right.
Your name on stuff.
At least you earning your regular check.
Man, that's credits in the movie theater. I don't care who the boom guy was. That didn't make.
And I think was that your father-in-law or somebody was like, you really actually doing more hours for the same pay.
Yep, it's inefficient.
So yeah, if you got two jobs paying $20 an hour, you need a $40 an hour job, right? Who said that to you? Somebody.
That was my father-in-law. It was.
Okay, yeah.
In the concept of, okay, so you want to get promoted, and now you feel like this job is for you, and you got all the qualifications for it, and this and that. And you have to stalk that job, but you also let it be known, whether it be in passing or specifically. I definitely will let HR know specifically. But then in passing, you got to get up with people on that team or put yourself in that sphere if it's an adjacent team, and make sure when they have something, a happy hour or whatever, be like, man, so what y'all working on now? I'm fascinated. That, I really always had a passion for the milky part of the milk bone. I know that's what y'all specialize in the marrow. I specialize in the milk bone marrow.
In the marrow, right.
No, always want to do that. Yeah, let it be. You gotta, closed mouths don't get fed. And so you have to express your desires openly and be vulnerable to a degree in that regard if that's what you really want. And if you've been pursuing it 5 years, I'm assuming that's what you really want. But I think challenging folks and saying, man, y'all always pass up the black folks, or y'all got all women over there. That does not really bode well, because once you get in there begrudgingly, they're not going to give you the tools to be successful in that, because now they're trying to prove a point that you never should have been here in the first place. So that's always.
Or you're immature.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, don't pout your way into a promotion.
Okay, so I think my response would be, why haven't you approached your boss yet? Why is your boss just now learning of your aspirations? This should be every year, like, okay, this is how you did, and this is what I want to do next, in my opinion. Or this is where I see. Why haven't you created a career plan and shared that with your boss?
I think there's a level of vulnerability in that. The reason why is this. I think that a normal-minded person believes that if they're in their role, so to a lot of people who are in certain roles, they feel like that the people that are around them should always believe that they're appreciative and happy just to have a job. And they should be, this is the best thing that ever happened to me, and I love it so much. So if I start talking about, you've been in relationships. If you start talking about other relationships while you're in that relationship, it's not going to last long. You know what I'm saying? And you, as a boss, as a person in charge, as a leader, you have to go to them and pry that out of them. What are your aspirations? What would you like to do? How do I put you in the best position to be successful? When I have teams, my first one-on-one with my team members is always a lunch. And we get away from the building, and now it's off the record. What you trying to do here? You trying to just chill and make it as easy as possible so you can retire? Or you trying to run the gauntlet and work your way up the ladder? Because those are two different paths that I can put you on. But what I don't want to do is put you on the gauntlet path, and now you mad because you in all these meetings and having all these calls and learning all this stuff and going to all these trainings, when all you want to do is just do your job until you got up out of here with this bread. Or if you on the other half where you think a lot of people say and think they could do the boss's job or they could do a better job. You got to show them whether they're right or not. You got to prove to them that, yeah, hey, this ain't for the faint of heart. So speaking that to your boss is sometimes intimidating to go and say that up front, because you don't know if your boss is like, wait a second, you trying to leave me? You, as good as I am to you, and you already talking about another relationship, you talking about another opportunity. So it's tough for people who aren't sure of themselves to have those conversations up front. Now, what I will tell you is this. That's dying because these younger generation folks come in talking about being the CEO 2 weeks after they get there. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you only a director? How long have you been here? Why are you only a director? It's like that. Like I had a mentee. You know this, my man. You know what I'm saying? That was like,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to make $1 million by the time I'm 30 and be a director. And it's like, you probably shouldn't say that to the directors because you're diminishing their climb. You're diminishing where they are in their 50s. You talk about doing it like you that smart.
Yeah. And you spend on your spare time on Toro. I was like, man, that really got to me, as you could tell.
I can't.
Like, why are you telling you was late to the meeting? 'Cause you had to give your keys to somebody because you had the Toro.
Hey, but when you're young, you don't see all of the angles and you don't see what you're saying and how it impacts what people believe about you. So when you have a situation where you want to get somewhere in your career, first of all, know where you're trying to go. Compass before the clock, right? You got to have a compass before you just take off running with a lot of veracity. So figure out what you're trying to do and if it's for you. Then if it's for you, or if you need to add things to make it better for you, keep in mind, just because you add those things, there are people that are absolutely not qualified or didn't go to school for things that they do because they was cool with somebody. So that networking does, that relationships, that does matter, especially at a larger company. Being able to have people take a chance on you, give you an opportunity, is an excellent thing. But reputations are like a grade point average. Once they go left, it's hard to get a 4.0 again. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard as hell.
I think that you're speaking from a perspective that all bosses are good. It's bosses who are never going to take you to lunch, who's never going to ask you your aspirations. So I would advise Daniel, because it doesn't sound like he has a good boss because he's in the dark, thinking he's qualified, or if he is qualified, he's being held back or something. So I think he needs to initiate where the boss should have because they're not.
Let's talk about a conversation that you and I had years ago. We were trying to assist a young man, and you were in marketing at the time. He wanted to be. It was marketing. Yeah, he wanted to be a lead. He wanted to be a lead in
Oh,
marketing. So you said, "Okay, that's great. Let's talk about it. You have aspirations to be a lead in marketing. What is your education in? Wasn't in marketing. What is your
hmm.
experience in? Wasn't in marketing.
Sales.
Why do you believe you should be a lead in marketing? You don't know nothing about marketing, but you want us to promote you above people who have been here or who have been to school for this. Why is that? Because I'd be great. Based off what? And I've never seen you be so strict with someone, but I've seen how he was frustrating you and not having any rationale as to why he should be promoted into that position in your organization because he was cool. Like, what are we doing?
And he wasn't even good at his current job,
Correct. That's correct.
but he should be promoted into a lead. Like people do marketing, man. Like people do this. So
Right.
you want to come over and lead them.
Right.
You're leading the other marketing managers, and you don't. Oh yeah, yeah. That was.
100%.
You ain't never seen me be more strict.
No, no. I've seen you. So here's the situation. I've seen people say things and you kind of let them hang themselves. You give them enough rope and they keep talking and keep talking. In that situation, that conversation didn't last long. That wasn't a long conversation at all. That was the shortest I've seen you get from point A to B because usually you ask questions and you try to let them reveal it to themselves. You try to let them, like when you convince the woman that she does like sandwiches. She's like, I don't like sandwiches. She's like, oh really? Okay, cool. You like bread? Yeah. You like meat? Yeah. You like all the components of sandwiches, but she just didn't want that guy to take her on a sandwich date. You know what I
I
mean?
said, "Do you mind your food touching?" Yeah, I don't mind. That's a sandwich.
So you were more gentle in that situation. With this young man, you was like, what makes you think this? Who told you that? Like like, this doesn't make sense because he wasn't thinking his aspirations was in direct contradiction to somebody else's investments. And that's what a lot of people don't think when they talk about being promoted and getting opportunities. Your
Hmm.
aspirations are in contradiction to somebody else's investment. Somebody else has probably been working on this the way in which we just spoke about for years or months or whatever. And then you come in and it just looks like a good idea and then get mad because you don't know, you know what I mean? Or, fortunately, we have to go here. If it's a woman, she slept her way to the top or she, you know what I'm saying, did unscrupulous things to get there or whatever. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
always if it is DEI, like it's always something that disqualifies them besides you doing the homework to see that they got a master's, a doctorate, and a a Nobel Prize, whatever it is that they just got promoted for. So just keep that in mind. But I do think that transparency, making people aware of your intentions, is great. The problem is, once you put on those pants, you got to wear them. Once you say you want to be the next section chief, and that's what your goal is, everything you do now is being scrutinized as would a future section chief do that? Would a future section chief act this way? No, that's Daniel's role. That's his aspiration. That's his goal. And then if you knock out of the park what you're supposed to be doing, it greases the wheels, because a lot of these roles at bigger companies are already established before the requisition comes out. Before it hits the street, they already know who they're going to choose. So you got to get into the mindset of these people before the determinations are made.
So your final verdict on how should I approach is
I think you start with understanding all of the angles, and do you qualify for those angles, and then you disseminate the intentions that you have to the proper people. Definitely HR, definitely the team that you're trying to get cool with them, so that way they get to know you, because people hire people. But you also got to stack the deck and make sure that your resume, knocks up against whoever might come in and try to knock you off, because you can still be beat. So you got to make it harder. Make the decision as difficult as possible for them, because I've actually seen this, and I don't know if you've seen this before. The person wanted it, they went for it, and then a dark horse candidate came out of nowhere that was super qualified, and you couldn't resist that because you got to answer to the board, you got to answer to certain people. So you hired a dark horse candidate, but then you tell that person that just interviewed their ass off and prepared, we'll figure out a way to get you in. We'll make, as we grow, we'll make a role for you. And then those are the best roles to be in.
I mean, that's still not fair, but it doesn't feel good at the time. So
Cool.
the other question in there, and I don't even know how it made it in there, but give me your thoughts on should I give up?
Here's the situation. Should you give up at this job? The thing, very few roles.
I'm being promoted at this job.
Yeah. Very few roles are company specific. It would be hard for me to believe you've done everything you can to check off the box to be section chief at this company. You got all the checks and chief qualifications, and this company doesn't want you, and no other company that has a section chief role available wants you either. That's rare. That is very, very rare. So you have to get over yourself with that and say, okay, it's time to move on. It's okay for people not to rock with you, or this to be. Sometimes you reach your level of, I can go no further here. You know what I mean? The Knicks just fired Thibodeau, and he had 52 wins and 54. Like, he had 50 plus wins in 2 seasons. Sometimes you just need a new voice.
So what I would say to should I give up is, I think you already know my theory on this, but I think it should never come out of a person's mouth that I gave up. It could be that I decided to pivot, or if somebody else is going to have to explain that I gave up. It ain't going to be me, because I'm going to be dead, and that's why I gave up. But if you're still have a passion for it, still able-bodied, you have the as Lee would say, if the fight is still in the dog, you still fight. You still fight, because you never know who the opponent is or who the open rec is. So I say you never give up on anything that you want because of what other people say. You decide to pivot.
But what you have to understand is you're going against the psychology of the normal person, because the most popular and the most sought after role in all of corporate America and any employment place is the role of the victim. Everybody wants to be the victim. Everybody wants to play the victim.
I know. I get
So and so of course I'm being hyperbolic in the fact that, but if you look around, go to your job tomorrow, whoever this is at the sound, whoever can hear my voice, go to your job next 2 or 3 days and count how many times somebody plays the victim. Count how many times somebody says, I'm overworked, I'm overwhelmed, I can't, I won't, Dog, that is very, very prevalent. And it's hard to manage against. It's hard to lead against. And I used to tell my team, we don't have loser conversations over here. Like, if we're going to have a conversation, it's going to be a winner conversation. That's that. Being the victim is so sought after and so accepted. It's embraced. Because people would rather have pity than to say, I refuse to say I quit. I refuse to No, they made me quit. They this and they that. They tried to say, they tried to do, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of those things come into the forefront as well when you're talking about careers and employment and opportunity. And it's sad but true, and this the way it is.
Okay, so let me read my notes and let me know
Okay,
what I missed.
cool.
Okay, so the first um nugget of advice or action item, I would say, is find out, are you the only one that's getting passed over, or is everybody getting passed over? So pretty much, what is the secret to success at that company? Number two, let your intent be known. Number three, does your qualifications and their qualifications match? Because you feeling you qualified and they feeling you qualified could be two different things.
Right.
Number four, don't attack the process. Don't say the only black people or only women are getting passed over. Like, don't attack the process because whining would not get you in there.
Correct.
A wise man once said, whining is never a good thing. Number five, create a career plan.
That's tough.
Number six,
That's tough, man.
are you
That
gonna attack that?
career plan part is tough because a job and a career are not the same thing, and we have a lot of people that listen to us that have jobs. Just be honest. They're in that job because they paid, not because they went to school for it, and not because they love it. Careers are something that you are okay having associated with your life. You're a lifelong machinist. You're a lifelong teacher. That those are
Okay.
careers, and it's hard to
So,
see certain jobs.
so if you're a mailman and you saying this is just to get me by,
Yep.
you look up, you've been doing that for 30 years.
That's
That was your career.
absolutely it was. Absolutely.
I don't
You
I
are
don't
with
care
your
if you
reputation.
say it's a job.
Yes, yes,
If you're a cashier and you've
absolutely.
been doing it, that is your career.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think creating a career plan, because if you want to be a cashier your whole life, that's fine.
Yeah,
You won because that's what you wanted.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that.
Number six, I put lunch with the boss or having those conversations with the boss. I don't know if you agree with that, but if the boss is not doing it, I would say lead the boss and you have the conversation.
I think that so number one has to be reconnaissance. So in the military, they go in and they do drones and satellite photos, and they know the attack plan before they rush in. Fools rush in, okay? In the reconnaissance of understanding what the job entails and if you qualify for the job, the other part about that is getting a sense of, can this person that's in charge of me actually have the ability to promote me or put me in a position to become promoted? Because you and I both have had super incompetent bosses. I wouldn't trust my career to. So it was no reason to even talk to them about it because they had two things going on. One, they were trying to take all the credit and get themselves promoted. So there's no way they would have let me get out of there before them. Two, they just didn't care enough. And so therefore anything I provided to them would fall on deaf ears because they were using me as a pack animal, just keep their check coming in. And then three, and lastly, you have some bosses that feel like you're their rival. Everything you say is to come after them or to circumvent or to supersede their shine in the eyes of the leadership. And so if you're on the sexy project or if your name's on this or you get such a better reputation, they feel insecure or threatened by that. And so in that regard, don't go tell the person that feels threatened by you the plan. That's the worst thing you can do because then you give them ammunition to sabotage said plan. So you got to be in charge. You got to be the master of your own career and learn how to market yourself. But you also have to learn how to defend your position within your career and look out for those people who are there to absolutely help and those people who are there to be your rival or hurt you in that regard. And some bosses are absolutely rivals in that sense.
Okay. I agree with that. It has to be a trusted person. I would have never done that with Robert. And number seven is don't quit. Not so fast. Don't quit. Just keep reevaluating.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was the good thing about what it sounds like is going on and what you're talking about is once it's in your spirit, it's gonna gnaw away at you anyway. So you might as well see it through. It's the campaign. I really want this. I really want to be the superintendent. I really want to be the main guy at the front of the milk bone line, or at the
Yep.
back of the milk bone line. I really want
Yeah.
that. I really
Put the,
want
the seal of approval on them. Yeah.
that. Absolutely, absolutely. I want to
Or
be
milk
Inspector
bone
12
thank
with the milk
God.
bones. Right, right. So,
12 is the highest.
yeah. So So yeah, that. I think that's sound advice with the information we had. Obviously, we did some liberal licensing as far as to create something to kind of tone it down because it was a broad question. It matters with the industry and all that. If he was a surgeon, we never even thought about that. What if he was a surgeon and he was trying to like, do you need to get more bodies? Do you need to do more experimental surgeries? There, you got to understand the role and what is
Right.
expected of
Yeah.
the role. That reconnaissance is very, very important. So that's what I would say.
Yep. So my man Daniel Jones, I hope this was helpful. If not, put another comment. Give us more detail. We can readdress it. So good luck to you.